If you're a property investor in Canada and you want to take your portfolio to the next level, you can download Lendlord below. You get 3 months premium access to the app. All right, guys, welcome back to episode 28 of the Canadian Real Estate Homefront Podcast. I'm joined with Brooke Hicks here as usual. And yeah, there's a ton to talk about this week. It feels like there's always something good, but it's like Canadian real estate and the Canadian economy is just crazy right now. So it is, it's cool. Why don't you start us off with that first topic there?
The one project.
The one project.
Okay. Yeah. So the one project is a pre-construction condo in Yorkville, I believe it is, Bloor and Yonge Street. So it began in 2016 and it's just announced that it's gone bankrupt. So here's a little bit of info on it. So the an 85-story mixed commercial residential skyscraper was the brainchild of developer Sam Mizrahi.
Yeah, sorry we butchered that.
And paving tycoon Jenny Coco. It should have been completed last year with Apple as a flagship tenant, an 11-story hotel, more than 500,000 square feet of upscale condo space. Instead, more than 8 years after the project kicked off, the one remains something closer to the one half.
Oh, pun intended.
Concrete columns and walls have only been poured up to the 40th floor, according to litigation filed this week. The project is more than $1.6 billion in debt. Co-owners Mizrahi and Coco are locked in their own increasingly bitter fight. Would-be tenants, meanwhile, have left to wonder if their deposits are still good and when, if ever, they'll be allowed to move in. So that's a little bit of a backstory, but I heard a little bit more in terms of Apple actually going forward with a lawsuit and wanting to leave that as their home base in Yorkville.
Really?
Which is so bad for the one, because that's their core, that's their anchor tenant, that's their anchor retail tenant.
Yeah.
When you sell that commercial space, you're relying on a core tenant to further develop, even the sentiment of the building.
Yeah, well, it's crazy too because I think it was like they eventually got 91 stories. I think
it's supposed to. So if you look at the one and you see a rendering, it's massive.
It's beautiful.
It is pretty.
It has like Dubai vibes.
It does have Dubai vibes.
Yeah, but I think the crazy thing is that they were saying, like, even the article here, they're like, only to the 40th floor. Like, that's huge. 40 floors.
Yeah.
Like, think of like what we see in more the West End.
Yeah.
Even in Toronto, like, even if you go in Liberty Village and, Fort York, you don't really see that high of towers.
Yeah. So when condos sell pre-construction, they have to sell a certain amount of units to then obtain financing from a bank. That's why they do pre-sales, to get their financing to start the construction. And then on closing, that's when people obtain the mortgages and then things are all worked out. So a condo is in debt upon completion, 100%, because your purchasers don't yet hold mortgages. Mm-hmm. They've only paid deposits. So they projected to be in debt about $600 million. And with everybody closing on their mortgages, especially Apple having that amount of space below, they projected to be in debt $600 million. And that was their projection as of 2016. So 600 million to 1.4 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 800 million that they missed in terms of their projected debt upon completion, and they're not even completed. So 800 million.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So now people are wondering about their deposits. And the crazy thing is, if a condo developer declares bankruptcy, then what? Because we've heard about condos either asking them purchasers for more money or giving your deposits back. But if you claim bankruptcy, then essentially what happens to your deposit?
What happens to all the people? What happens to all the people who put down money to buy a condo? Like, I don't even know what happens, because it's like you already have 40 floors. These people are bankrupt. And like, where's the money going to come from? I guess like receivership is like someone can actually come in and bid on the project.
Yeah, so it's actually in receivership. And receivership means that it's in the hands of litigation lawyers. So they actually are in possession of the decisions.
Yeah.
There is still ownership with Coco and Mizrahi, the developers.
Yeah, but I think it's because they weren't making their payments, right? So that's why it's in receivership, because you have to know that you don't have to know, but construction loans are a lot higher than for sometimes it's like outside investors who are looking to make 10% on their money. And it looks like this guy, the only projects he's done before this were very small scale when I kind of read into it a bit more. And he really kind of, respect to him. He took a leap of faith and tried to do something huge and kind of change the city landscape in a sense, like 91 stories. Like that's great. Imagine you're on the 91th floor and you're hitting that button. Like could even fathom that.
That's
but
yeah, it's a hotel residence. Like that's like a boutique.
And Apple.
And on the corner of Yonge and
was it Bloor?
Yonge and Bloor?
Can't remember. But it was it's been definitely in the news. Like I honestly can't wait to see where this goes.
Yeah. So Apple has put forth a lawsuit because in 2016 when they bought it, their expected completion was
it 2020 it was supposed to be completed or 2021?
Yeah, and then they delayed it. So it was supposed to be done last year. And now we're 8 years later. So people's money have been tied up. So the thing about pre-construction, when it's delayed, I like when my pre-construction projects are delayed because I have such a little amount in. Like, for example, my Burlington pre-construction, I had $25,000 in it, right? And the more it was delayed, the more that $25,000 was able to like grow as real estate was growing.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind, but people that put more down, a lot of projects require more than just the 5% I put down. Think of $100,000, and 8 years later, it's still not completed. The time value of money, right? If you just end up getting your $100,000 back 8 years later, how much
you could have
lost, how much you could have made on that $100,000 putting it somewhere else to just get $100,000 back. How much even things go up in 8 years, how much you lose. Yeah. $100,000 isn't the same $100,000 anymore. You've lost money, even though essentially you've gotten your money back.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because it's like something has to happen. You can't just have 40 stories of concrete just in the city, just sitting there. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, you make a good point. It's funny too. You said you kind of just sit for it to wait just to go up. And it was like, that's what was going through my head when I bought my pre-con and Waterdown, and it went up, and then all of a sudden the market starts turning against you a little bit. I'm still up on it, but I'm not quite as up as I was at one point when rates were so low. Yeah. Are you still in occupancy in yours?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I took possession of my condo in March, and so when you take possession of a pre-construction condo, you go into what usually occupancy. Cortez's condo didn't. They went right to closing.
They wanted their money.
They want their money, but occupancy also. They're making their payments on their loan because we pay it. So
you're paying rent to the builder.
Paying rent to the builder. You're paying interest on unpaid principal plus your condo fees.
Yeah.
Anyways, they expected it to be $800 a month when I bought it, occupancy fee. So a lot of times people can make money on occupancy because you're allowed to rent it during occupancy if that's a clause in your agreement. You're not paying your mortgage yet. You're only paying your condo fee plus interest on unpaid principal. It's usually much lower than what a mortgage payment would be. So it was expected to be $800. My 1-bed, 1-bath condo, 530 square feet is $3,500 occupancy fee.
Oh God.
Okay. So to be and then because none of that's going to principal, if you bought something, I bought mine for $500,000. Now 8 months of occupancy of $3,500. What's that? $30,000. So $30,000, add $30,000 to the purchase price of the condo because I'm not paying down any principal, right? It's essentially rent. So $30,000 extra for 8 months.
Yeah.
However, I'm lucky enough that I've found other ways to rent. If anybody wants advice on this, feel free to DM me. But I have a couple companies I work with that aren't full 1 year. They don't work with tenants that want a whole year, or they don't work with tenants that want like a month that Airbnb would do. It's like kind of in the middle of it, and they want furnished. So I furnished mine very nicely. So I get $3,500 for my 1-bedroom. So it's a wash for me.
That's good.
But there's 2-bedroom condos in the same building that are up vacant at $2,700 and aren't renting. So you got to be creative. If you're in occupancy, you can't just throw it up on MLS and
just be cash flow negative.
And just, you got to be creative. But I'm still in occupancy. Yeah.
Well, I hope you get out of that soon.
Hopefully next month, we'll see.
Anyways, next topic here. So we actually talked about this like a few weeks ago, and you and I didn't have an argument, but like
we had an argument?
No, we disagreed on this. So remember I was talking about how Toronto has the vacant home tax of 1%, and I said they should raise it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't back that.
But they did raise it. So Toronto City Council votes to increase vacant home tax to 3%. So you're basically tripling it. So City of Toronto Council voted to increase the vacant home tax from 1% to 3% on Wednesday, a move that city staff says will bump up revenues from the tax up to $105 million in 2025. Revenues have been around half of that with the tax at 1%. And then they said, we now know that 50% of Torontonians rent, and the rent is so high that every day there's anxiety and wondering if there's a day where they get evicted, where they get a notice slipped into their door where their rent is going up 10, 20, 30%. This is from Mayor Chow. At the same time, we're seeing speculators sit on much needed housing, strangling the market, driving the price of a rental housing higher and making it even less affordable for people. No one should be keeping a home empty during this housing crisis. That's what the Mayor of Toronto said. So I actually kind of did them. So if you're like $1 million house and you're paying 3%,
30 grand.
30 grand a year. Yeah.
On top of your property taxes.
Mm-hmm. Which aren't that high in Toronto. But also, I kind of think they're doing it because Toronto's just like needs money, right? They actually, like, the city like needs money. Like, they're asking the federal government for money. They're just not getting as much money from, I mean, look at the Treb stats. They're not getting as much money from land transfer. That was a huge profitability. And with more people sitting there. So yeah, anyways, that's going up. So vacant home tax is going up to 3%.
Huh.
So I don't know what
but
that's.
Then, okay, wait. So they said vacant home tax, blah, blah, you have to submit it. And if you don't submit it, you're going to be slapped with a $10K fine. So
no, if you don't submit it, they actually consider it vacant. So if you don't fill the form out, they consider the home vacant. So you will get hit with that 3%.
But if you don't submit something, you get fined 10 grand. I was hearing all about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a fine for 10 grand.
I just heard if you don't fill it out, you're considered vacant home. Like, that's how they do it.
I think so.
No, that's how it is.
Really?
Yeah, if you don't fill it out, that's how it is. Because I was listening to Tom Story talk about it, and he said he's made many videos on it. So if you don't fill out, they consider it to be vacant.
But who opens their mail? Not me.
Normal people.
Email me. Really, if somebody sends me something in the mail to fill out and mail back, there's no way I'm doing that.
But they don't want you to. They want to hit you with the penalty. They want to make money off you. It's going to double the revenue, they said too. So anyways, it's a big move. I wonder if we'll see some foreign people sell, or we'll see. It might not be enough to move the needle, but it's kind of showing the direction that Toronto's going.
I don't know. Some people probably won't sell because it's just vacant. Like if they're at a high purchase price, it's either like 30 grand or sell it at a loss of 200 grand. Like they're gonna have to weigh out, depending on when they bought it, obviously, but they'd have to weigh it out. But you know what? The people on the market right now, mostly, other than people that are growing families and just want to upsize or downsize, you'll always see them, even though there's not many of them. A lot of people are selling because they can't afford their mortgage payment. Yeah,
it's happening all the time, especially in like me being in kind of the private sector of mortgages and funding some of it. Some of the reasons, like, can't afford it anymore, need to sell in 6 months, sort of thing. Like, that's like, because they always give a reason. They give the investor the reason, like what's their game plan to pay you off, or what's their exit strategy.
Do you get the sale too?
Sorry?
Do you get the sale too?
Not always. I should make that a stipulation.
I need to sell in 6 months. I can't afford it. Okay, here's your loan.
Yeah, that depends where it is. But
in the fine print.
Yeah.
You also have to hire me as your realtor.
Yeah, some double dipping, but no. That's not true. But yeah, anyways, we will see what happens with this Toronto vacant tax. I don't think there's going to be a lot of.
Only Toronto, like, so that's not GTA. It's like City of Toronto.
City of Toronto, yeah. I mean, I assume you're going to get other places doing it too. It seems like it's just like the start of the domino effect.
Have you noticed living in Toronto? And it's just when I come into Toronto, it's like yes, it's getting colder. Obviously, more people are out in the summer. Like people are at beaches and stuff in the summer. But even like restaurants, I go in and it's just like. Not like there's just not as many people. Yes, it's cool. There's factoring in. It's like, okay, fall. Kids are back at school, but it's still like, I think it's starting to hit. Inflation's come down, yes. Yeah. But I think it's really starting to hit. People just don't have money.
Yeah. So
people are tapped out.
I screenshotted something from Twitter. So Steve Storetsky, he said Canadian retail sales flat in September. Given inflation and population growth, you need monthly growth of about 0.5% just to break even. Consumers are pulling back big time. The Bank of Canada is done raising rates. And then I also like was reading stuff too on Twitter. A lot of restaurant owners are saying like now they're starting to feel it, and they only think that things are going to get worse going forward.
Yeah.
Because people are really pulling back.
Yesterday, I went out to dinner with my sister, and I'm like,
Would look dead there.
yeah, I'm like, we need a reservation 100%. It's one of the busiest restaurants in Oakville.
Where'd you go?
Spoon and Fork Plus.
Oh,
Okay?
just off
Like,
Trafalgar?
it's not like a Harper's Landing is like a chill, like busy, but like Spoon and Fork Plus, it just attracts all, like, because it has so many different types of food
Mm-hmm.
that it's just always slammed.
Yeah.
Especially Friday, Saturday nights, no chance. Just don't even try. Okay. And then we walked in, it was like, don't need a reservation, nothing. It's like,
You're like, what?
mm.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy. I think that we're going to see more and more of that going forward, especially as it gets colder and stuff like that. Just people pulling back, people like not spending as much, uncertain times, all those things, right?
I think Canada is going to want to hibernate for the winter.
Yeah, I think
Canada's going to hibernate.
people are tired too.
People are freaking
Exhausted, trying to afford
It is
groceries, trying to
exhausting.
work.
So I was having this conversation yesterday about Canada housing, and everybody's who's in the market says, oh, like ride the wave and it'll bounce back. And so I challenged it, even though I believe that too. Like over time, it only goes one way, the dollar and just people's wages, everything goes one way.
Yeah.
And it has its dips. But because of people's salaries absolutely being so far behind how quick houses went up, if it goes back to it increasing again without everything else kind of following suit, houses are going to become a commodity that people can't aspire to. Leaving school, it's not on your goals if you're going to just, have a regular job to own a house. I think there's going to be a lot more renters. And then if you look at Europe, and this is why it was an interesting conversation, is because he was very familiar with Europe and the big cities in Europe and how it works. The real estate in the big cities is unaffordable. Like it's ridiculous, right? Suburbs, okay, you can aspire to like the outskirts of major cities, but you can't aspire to own a house in London, England, right? Maybe a flat is what they call it. But it's just a commodity where you're a renter for your life, and that's a normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not so normal in Canada to be a renter for life without the idea of wanting to own a home one day. But it's normal.
Everybody wants to own a home because their parents did, right?
Right. And everybody wants to own a home because of what reason, right? Is it because of money, or is it because of status? Like, why do people want to own a home so badly? Because it's $7,500 in a mortgage payment and $3,500 in a rent payment for the exact same house. So the only reason you'd buy is because you feel that extra $4,000 you're paying right now is going to end up on the other side, make you a lot of money.
Yeah, I think like why, I wanted to own a condo was because I wanted exposure into the market. I like that, a lot of it more goes to interest and principal in my loan, but I like that there's pay down over time, and I like that no one can kick me out. Obviously the bank can if I stop paying my mortgages, but huge. I think the scary thing for a lot of tenants, even what Olivia Chow said, was that they're worried that one day someone's going to come knock on the door and kick them out. And then what do? Then you're back into this rental market that's up. What is it up this year? Up 20% already, or 15%? Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh my God, like my rent from 5 years ago is exponentially gone up. It's probably almost doubled.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of these cities, if you look across the ocean, and they're just, people are renters for life, and owning a house in a big city. So, if you drive to Belleville, maybe that's a completely different conversation we'd be having, as an example. But it might be just a commodity where if prices, we're in a dip right now. If they, let's say 10 years from now, we do another with the amount of people coming in. It's just how your income can sustain that purchase price, even if rates are low. It just I don't see us going up on this rocket ship like we did. I think that. Well, where do you think? Okay, let's put you on the spot here. Where do you think house prices will be in 10 years? Let's do an example. Okay, something like my Burlington condo. Okay, very close to Brandon Lakeshore. Mm-hmm. Built in 2023, 540 square feet. One bed, one bath.
What's that going to be worth?
Yeah. So I bought it in 2020 for $499.
Mm-hmm.
One just sold 10 floors below me, the exact same layout for $630.
Okay.
Today.
Yeah.
In peak times, it was $730.
Okay.
You see the lake from my balcony.
You see the lake. Okay. It's tough. Like maybe it'll in 10 years it's back in the sevens. And I only say this. Let me finish. I think that Canada is going to go through a point where people are going to really start to realize how overvalued real estate is. And I don't think that the rates are going to go in the twos for a very long time. I don't think ever. And I think that we're not going to attract the talent that we think we're going to attract. And I think that immigration has been this whole thing that, you know, we're going to save immigration. Immigration is going to save us. And when you really look back on what has happened, it's like, yeah, no shit. Prices have gone up so much. We let in way more people than we were building homes. And I think the conservatives are going to get in, and Pierre Poilievre won't say this publicly because I think it's bad for his votes. I think he's going to trim back immigration a lot. I think he's going to really bring back those numbers, especially on foreign students. I don't even think it's an attractive place to put capital for foreigners now too. Like I think if you're from, you know, China or India or something like that, and you're seeing a 3% tax in Toronto, you're like, well, why don't I just go somewhere else? Why don't I just park my money somewhere else if I can? So I don't know. I'm just not that bullish long-term as much as a lot of people are. I think it'll be a great like inflation hedge. I just don't think we're going to see 52% in 2 years like we saw during COVID. And I don't think they're going to have cheap credit like they did where it fueled the real estate market. Like, let's just call it how it is. Cheap credit and a population boom, in a way, kind of destroyed affordability in a lot of places. And I think a lot of places like the COVID darlings that are down 30% are going to see even more, like Woodstock. I think it's going to go down even more.
Yeah.
I think those areas are so overvalued. Like Toronto, I can see Oakville, Burlington-ish. I can see that there's some good potential because I think people want to be there, but not that people don't want to be in Woodstock. I just don't think a majority of people want to be in Woodstock.
You're right. I don't think that's craziness. So if we do the math on that, so if it's
$630,
so you're saying it's going to go up.
If it goes up $100,000 in 10 years, how much is that?
That would be like 6-7%.
Study the 90s in Canada.
So you think it's going to go up 6% in 10 years?
I don't know. I don't think it's going to go up a lot. If you study the 90s, this is what happened. Rates went up and things traded sideways.
For how long?
I think it was like a decade. Things traded sideways.
But then it went crazy. Okay, let's talk about 15 years.
You really want? No, you know what? I'm a little bearish. So it'll probably, you know, I guess in long term it'll probably go up. But I don't know. I'm just not that. I'm cautiously optimistic going forward. I just don't think that I just don't think incomes are going to keep up with it.
So then it doesn't, like if that's the case and if Cortez is right, then buying a condo for $500K at these interest rates, look at your amortization schedule. After 25 years, 30 years, how much have you paid for that condo? Okay.
Your interest, yeah.
Like it's hundreds of thousands. So you didn't buy that condo for 500. You bought the condo for 800, let's say. And it took you 25 years to pay it off.
Yeah.
But if it's not even that price and you've paid 800 and you could sell it for, at that time, 700.
Yeah.
You've essentially lost $100,000, but then you have 700,000 in your pocket at the end of it. So it's kind of like weird.
It is weird, yeah. But again, no one can kick you out other than the bank if you don't make your payments, obviously. It's your house. You're going to treat it a lot better. Like you don't treat your rental the same as like your own house. Like you do improvements. You can, you know, try and do things around the home that makes it better. I remember because I actually grew up in Belgium. Random fact.
What?
Yeah.
You grew up in Belgium?
Yeah, because my dad got transferred there. And yeah.
Where? Brussels?
In Brussels, yeah.
I've been to Brussels.
Oh, cool.
You grew up there?
I think I lived there for 6 years.
All the flags in between the little streets in Brussels.
It's cute, eh?
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
But like Brussels is very small.
Yeah, it was different because my dad's in the mining industry, and I think I moved when we were 1.5. Like I was young. There's like pictures of my mom holding me on the plane like as a baby. It's pretty cute. But he bought a place in Oakville on 6th Line. It was like in the 100 and something thousand, and this was in the 90s. And he sold it, obviously, because we moved to Belgium, and he lost money on it. Yeah, I think he, like at the time, it was like $30K, which is a lot. It's a big hit. Like back then in the 90s, he's, you know, a new father of 2 kids, and yeah.
You grew up in Belgium.
Yeah.
What language is Belgian?
They speak French and I think Flemish. But I went to an American school. There's like an American school. They put me in French. My parents put me in French lessons and I cried.
You cried?
Yeah. I don't remember it, but I cried. All right. Enough of my personal life. Let's get into the next topic.
Okay.
This one sucks.
What?
Mississauga votes against allowing fourplexes. So City Council in Mississauga voted against a motion that would have allowed fourplexes to be built across the city. In a 5-5 tie, vote on October 11th. So the motion would have permitted 4 units as of right across Mississauga, a move that Tenjo said would help address the missing middle and boost housing supply across the city. Calling City Council's decision a setback, said it was a disappointment but commitment to continue working to build more homes in Mississauga. Crises can't be solved when municipalities won't even approve their principal fourplexes in 80% of neighborhoods in the GTA where lot sizes setbacks are adequate. We must do more for our young. Exclusionary zoning has to go. So it's interesting to see from Mississauga.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks to see, but then I was also reading on Twitter too that a lot of people in Mississauga just do it anyway. Like there's just tons of people renting rooms and renting their basements.
Yeah. So cities that don't allow, like for instance, Hamilton right now too, like if it's a single family home and there's 2 renters, you're technically not allowed. The city can come and demand that the basement tenants vacate if it's 2 separate leases, right? People do it all the time. So how tough is the city on actually enforcing this is the question.
Yeah, probably not that tough. Like who's going to go out there and do that? Like I'm going to kick this family on the street.
In Hamilton, they've what did they do? Near Westdale and near McMaster, they've actually started putting notices on doors. And actually, I don't know how they find out, but student houses and multiple leasers in the same house, in a single family house, they've now like served notice to the owners. And I don't know if they're fined or what they have to do, or they have to comply, I think it is.
Okay.
So they've been enforcing it, but I'm like, for what? Like,
yeah,
students like to live together. Like a student house in university is fun. I don't want to live by myself when I'm
No,
a student.
God,
I want to
no.
live with my friends.
Yeah, I want to pre-drink and go out.
Pre-drink
Yeah,
and
that's
go
like
to
some of the
party.
best stuff ever.
As if I want to live by myself in a basement apartment. I
No,
want to
God,
be on
no.
a freaking bunk bed
Yeah.
in university. So I don't know. But Hamilton was enforcing it last year. I heard somebody called me actually and said I need to sell them because I can no longer do student housing. The city like came after me, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I feel like they have better things to do than
for sure.
that. But
Yeah,
okay.
it sucks to see that anyone's even disagreeing with this. Like it's just like, it's like let's check like where they own housing. Like they probably own like a detached 4-bedroom that they bought for $300,000 and now it's worth 1.5 million. And they're like, I don't want anyone in my backyard, so no thanks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is kind of that NIMBYism where it's, how is this not something that everyone sees and agrees on? Like how can 5 people, because there's a 5-5, 5 yes, 5 no, how can these politicians not see that, like how much we need more housing? Like how much, like, do you not have kids? Do you not have grandkids? Do you not have, some sort of relation where you're like, okay, if my house is at 1.4 and if it really does bring it down to 1.2, but my children can have a shot at living somewhere, or, my grandkids or my niece or my nephew, then I feel like it's a pretty easy walk away. But I also don't really see housing prices going down just because there's more density.
Yeah. That's interesting. I don't know. Maybe they just rule it out just because like there's a lot that needs to happen in terms of even getting a fourplex up and standing in terms of approvals. And all of that.
It'll take years to get done.
It'll take years.
Yeah.
So I think they know it happens anyways.
Yeah.
But to just allow it, there's a lot more work on their table too.
Yeah.
Because to plan a fourplex, okay, you're allowed to do a fourplex. Now what? Like people are just going to put up fourplexes? No, you have to be involved.
You need certain people. You need capital.
Yeah. So I think that it's maybe they're just turning.
It's the inevitable. It's definitely going to happen. Density's going to happen. There's no doubt in my mind. Like even as we get older and more younger people get into power and stuff like that, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, sad to see. What else is going on? Anything else you want to add? How's the market?
Oh my gosh, the market. I have a couple listings in Oakville. One of them has 10 showings today. 10.
Did you price it low or was it?
No.
No.
We'll take list price. I just put up another one in Oakville today. It has 2 showings on it right now. So Oakville seems to be okay, but
Are you pricing stuff well, you feel?
I price it where they should be.
Yeah, good. Price it well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a couple in Hamilton that are not moving or getting showings, and those are crazy because 2 units on the West Mountain. If you know Hamilton, the West Mountain is among the top 3 neighborhoods of Hamilton. Very safe, very beautiful. It's basically 50% of where the neighbors and the area would have sold for in the peak. 50%, right? So with the high mortgage rates, you can even almost break even renting top floor and bottom floor. So I'm like, this is such a good investment. Where is everyone? So it's a little bit eerie out there. London is crazy slow. I have a couple clients. I'm working with a London agent as well. That's like crazy slow.
The higher they go up, the faster they fall.
Yeah. Where else are my listings? None in Burlington right now. Yeah, like I have a good little chunk of listings, but obviously I prepare my clients for the average days on market, which is over 30 in all of these markets. You do what you can to come out of the gate strong. And then buyers, I have buyers that are just not like, you know, if they're watching, I'm watching for them, but
yeah,
everyone's just kind of like, if I see something great, okay, like that'll get me up, but
yeah,
not like rushing to go buy. And the funny thing is though, if for some reason everyone was rushing to buy right now, it would get other people rushing to buy. People follow the masses.
Yeah, follow sentiment a lot.
Because I'm looking at some of these, I'm like, this is such a good deal.
Yeah,
even at these mortgage rates, like somebody buy this. But
yeah, it's crazy. I know. I was looking at a friend of mine sent me something in Etobicoke, and they're thinking about purchasing it or whatever. And then I was just doing the math more in my head, and I was just talking out loud with a friend about it. And it's probably worth about 1.2 million. How much do you have to put down? About 220K. And then what's $1 million mortgage? It's about $6,000 a month.
more.
I think it's about $6,000.
No,
it's probably a little bit more, probably 60.
My mortgage is $950 and I pay $7,000. My rate's 7%.
Oh wow. Because I was doing a $500,000 mortgage is about $3,000.
And then my
That's
other
six
house,
something
my
percent.
mortgage is $760 and my mortgage is $6,000.
Okay. You're with B lenders, right?
Yeah, but they're not, because I was renewed, like I go and I renew with them.
Yeah.
They give me competitive rates for a B lender. If another B lender, if I went to go get a mortgage today with a B lender, it'd be higher than what I have with these current B lenders because I've been with them. So it's like 6.6% higher than what an A lender would offer you on a 5-year variable.
That's not bad.
Anyways.
It's slow. Say it how it is. It's slow out there. Agents are
it's
feeling
slow
it.
out
So
there.
yeah, we're just trying to give out as much information as we can.
Like the beginning of the year, from January until middle of September, I was freaking working 12-hour days.
Yeah.
So now I'm just like,
back to the basics.
This is like a teacher. Like you work, and then you like kind of have summer off.
Yeah,
so I'm
I'm
chilling.
I'm chilling.
I'm a podcaster.
Podcaster, I know. Yeah. Speaking of that, yeah, I told you the story, but I was in Whole Foods. So yeah, this couple came up to me and said,
C-list celebrity.
Yeah, C-list. Yeah, it's so funny. They said hi to me.
Right and center.
Yeah, I know. I keep getting recognized. It's kind of funny, but I love it. Like, thanks for doing it. Like I got to get better at interacting with you guys because I'm just like,
he's so shy. And he's like,
I'm so shy.
Oh
I'm like, what? I'm like, someone knows who I am. Yeah. But yeah, if you see us and you want to chat, like, just come up and talk to us 100%.
Or
Like,
if you want to work with us, we're pretty smart.
Yeah, we're not bad either. We'll
We're
plug
realtors.
we'll plug ourselves at the end. All right, guys. Well, that's the episode there. We hoped you liked it. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe and follow us and comment down below anything you want. Yeah. Nice stuff if you can. On Spotify, you can follow us there too. And please leave us a review. It really helps. And then on Instagram and TikTok, follow us there. That's where we get the most traction. People love the short form stuff. They're great edits. And it's
20,000 followers.
Almost.
19.9.
Close enough. But yeah, it's crazy how fast it's growing, and we're super grateful for
people
it.
Like us. You really like us.
Well, some people hate us, but more people
more
people like than hate.
So funny. My sister sent me the one video that I was talking about the metal detectors thing, and she goes, "Oh my God, the comments, I would simply cry." And I'm like, "What do they say?" And she's like, "Oh my God, they're like freaking attacking you." And I'm like, "You're reading I'm not even reading them, and you're reading them." Like, I don't read them for a second. I like scroll through. I want to catch like the questions and the smart answers, because I'm like, "Oh, that's a good point." But like if it's mean, it's like,
I don't care anymore. Yeah. Maybe
I'll
at the
like
beginning.
say it in my head, like, you're mean, like Darnish Gill or whatever his name was. You're mean, like Anita.
I actually love when you comment back, you're mean.
Yeah, they'll say something so like ridiculous, and I'm ignorant and this, and like you just think you're like hot and this, and I'm like, you're mean.
You're mean, yeah.
You're mean.
That's
You're
like a
mean.
good one just to come back at it. But
What do you say to that? That's like,
who cares? It's like if you have
like,
that
what
much
did- what
time
did
to
they
say
to that
to
when I
say
you're
something
mean?
awful, it's like, okay, whatever.
Who hurt you?
Yeah, who hurt you? Yeah, that's a good one. Who hurt you? Anyways, that's it, guys. We'll be back next week for some more content and some more news. And yeah, follow us for short form if you want daily videos. See you later. Bye.
Over and out.
Hey everyone, if you did not know, we are not just podcasters, we're also realtors. If you want to work with us in the Oakville, Burlington, Hamilton, or the surrounding areas, you can book a call down below. If we're not in your area, you can also reach out to us. We can refer you to an agent who's very like-minded like us, and we will get you all hooked up. Thanks so much for watching.